Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Τα προγράμματά μας προσφέρουν πολλές γλώσσες. Παρακαλούμε δείτε suprememastertv.com/schedule.
During the preliminary practices of enlightenment, the student must be careful always to be enlarging his sympathy with the animal and human worlds, and his sense of nature's beauty. Please continue watching for the reflective spiritual insights of Dr. Rudolf Steiner, vegetarian.
Zdravo, significant viewers. Zdravo means hello in Croatian. I'm Ivana. The life-cherishing people of Croatia send you love and encouragement for your benevolent lifestyles as you preserve the life of others as your own. May God bless you. Welcome to Enlightenment from the Way of Initiation by Dr. Rudolf Steiner, vegetarian, and words of wisdom. Born in 1861, Dr. Rudolf Steiner was a great Austrian polymath, philosopher and scientist who made influential contributions in the fields of education, science, spirituality and medicine. He is perhaps best known for pioneering the holistic educational methods for the Waldorf schools. An eloquent public speaker and gifted writer, he gave over 6,000 lectures in his lifetime and gained recognition as a literary critic. His writings cover a wide range of subjects, and he published more than 25 books, including Mysticism at the Dawn of the Modern Age, The Way of Initiation, and Intuitive Thinking as a Spiritual Path, The Philosophy of Freedom. He developed and taught an esoteric spiritual philosophy called Anthroposophy, based on the science of the spirit. Today, we will quench our spiritual thirst with a reading from Dr. Rudolf Steiner's chapter Enlightenment from his book The Way of Initiation. The distinguished philosopher uses detailed and specific ways to explain how simple and continual practices in our day-to-day lives can enable us to develop a broader inner vision which will open the door to illumination. Enlightenment. Enlightenment is the result of very simple processes. Here too, it is a matter of developing certain feelings and thoughts which are dormant within all men, but must be awakened. Only he who carries out these simple processes with complete patience, continuously and strenuously, can be led by them to the reception of inner illumination. The primary step is taken by observing in a particular way different natural objects: a transparent stone of beautiful form, a crystal, a plant, and an animal. One should endeavor at first to direct one's whole attention to a comparison of the stone with the animal as follows. The thoughts which, accompanied by strong emotions, are thus induced must pass through the soul, and no other emotions or thoughts must be mixed with them or disturb the intense contemplation. One then says to oneself, the stone has a form and the animal also has a form. The stone remains motionless in its place, but the animal is able to move about. It is impulse, desire, which causes the animal to change its place, and it is these impulses to which the form of the animal is of use. Its organs and instruments are the expression of these impulses. The form of the stone, on the contrary, is fashioned not in accordance with impulses, but in accordance with an impulseless force. If one sinks deeply into such thoughts, and by so doing observes the stone and the animal with fixed attention, then there arise in the soul two separate kinds of emotion. From the stone into the soul there streams one kind of emotion, and from the animal another. Probably, in the beginning the experiment will not succeed, but little by little, with genuine and patient practice, these emotions become manifest. Again and again one should practice. At first, the emotions last only as long as the contemplation. Later on, they work afterwards, and then they grow to something which remains alive in the soul. One then needs only to reflect, and both emotions invariably arise apart from all contemplation of an external object. Out of these emotions and the thoughts which are bound up with them, clairvoyant organs are formed. Should the plant be added to the contemplation, one will notice that the feeling outflowing from it, both in its quality and in its degree, lies between that which emanates from the stone and that from the animal. The organs which are so formed are spiritual eyes. We learn by degrees and through their means to see both astral and mental colors. As long as one has attained only the condition described as probation, the spiritual world with its lines and figures remains dark, but through enlightenment it will become clear. It must be noted here that the words dark and light, as well as the other common expressions, only approximately describe what is really meant, for language, as usually understood, is constructed to suit physical conditions alone. Occult science describes what emanates from the stone and is seen by clairvoyant eyes as blue or bluish red, and that which is observed as coming from the animal is described as red or reddish yellow. In reality, they are colors of a spiritual kind, which are discerned. The color proceeding from the plant is green. Plants are just those natural phenomena whose qualities in the higher worlds are similar to their qualities in the physical world. But it is not so with stones and animals. It must now be clearly understood that the above-mentioned colors only suggest the prevailing shades of the stone, the plant, or the animal. In reality, all possible overtones exist for every animal, every stone. Every plant has its own peculiar shade of color. In addition to these, there are the creatures of the higher worlds who always incorporate themselves with colors not their own, often marvelous, often horrible. In short, the variety of colors in these higher worlds is immeasurably greater than in the physical world. If a man has once acquired the faculty of seeing with spiritual eyes, he sooner or later meets with the beings here mentioned, some of them higher, some lower than man himself, beings who never entered into physical existence. When he has advanced thus far, the way to a great deal lies open before him, but it is inadvisable to proceed further without an experienced guide. Indeed, for all that has here been described, such experienced guidance is desirable, and he who has the endurance to fulfill the elementary conditions of enlightenment will assuredly seek and discover his guide. Under all circumstances, it is important to give warning, and he who will not heed it had better leave untrodden all the steps of occult science. It is necessary that he who would become an occult student should lose none of his attributes as a good and noble man, and one susceptible to all physical truths. Indeed, throughout his apprenticeship, he must continually increase his moral strength, his inner purity, and his powers of observation. Let us give an example. During the preliminary practices of enlightenment, the student must be careful always to be enlarging his sympathy with the animal and human worlds, and his sense of nature's beauty. If he is not careful to do this, he continually dulls both sense and feeling, his heart grows cold, and his sympathies dwarfed, which lead to perilous results. In our time, the path to occult science is sought after by many. It is sought in various ways, and many dangerous and even objectionable modes are practiced. Therefore, it is that those who know of the truths and dangers concerning these things have allowed a greater portion of the occult training and the necessary warning to be published. Only so much is here imparted as this permission allows, and it is necessary that something of the truth should be known in order that it may counteract the great danger of these errors. If nothing be forced, there is no danger for him who follows the way already described. Only one thing should be noted. No one ought to spend more time or power upon such practices than is at his disposal with due regard to his circumstances and his duties. No one ought suddenly to change anything in the external conditions of his life. If one desires genuine results, one must have patience. One should be able to cease the practice after a few minutes and then peacefully to continue one's daily work. And no thought of these practices ought to be mingled with the work of the day. He who has not learned to wait, in the best and highest sense of the word, is of no use as an occult student, nor will he ever attain results of much real value. Wise viewers, we appreciate your company for today's words of wisdom. Please join us again tomorrow for part 2 of Enlightenment from the Way of Initiation by Dr. Rudolf Steiner, vegetarian. Coming up next is Ecotourism, the Sustainable Way to Travel, part 2 of 3, right after noteworthy news. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television for more constructive programming. May all your sincere efforts for spiritual attainment be abundantly fruitful in God's immense glory.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW.